any situation, bitch, I'm versatile. Mixed Louis with all white, they call me Virgil now. $200,000 whip and I'm serving out it. Niggas was jumping in my lane, so I swerved around them. How you keep running up cheese, bitch, don't worry about it. Niggas really think they rich with a couple thousand. How about shooting with my bitch, that's a couple wildin'. I done seen niggas switch for a couple thousand. I ride around two straps, but I ain't rockin' Prada. Never drove no motorcycle, I like buying choppers. 8,000 beans in 2 weeks, I need another doctor. Yo, bitch all on my dick, boy, you better stop her.
What up, y'all? It's JClipz, formerly known as Mari. Shit, I'm a barber in Fort Wayne. I just kind of do what I can to get where I want to go. A lot of people, you can mainly find me on my Instagram, or I do content on Facebook. Soon, I'm going to have YouTube coming up, though. I just got to get the equipment together. Shop located off of Maple Crest. It's located off of Maple Crest Avenue, or Maple Crest Road. It's right in the plaza, right across the street from Saboya's. Born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I really don't have where I'm really from, but most of the parts I grew up around about the south side. Pretty much everywhere I live, east, north, south, west, all that. Really made me get into barbering was really, if I tell you the truth, I got into barbering because I didn't trust a bunch of niggas in my head. I started cutting myself, so shit. Plus, it started getting hard, bro. Why not teach yourself another trade, you feel me? I started around, it's 2026, so I started around 2024 in July. And I really didn't start taking it serious until later on that year, around like November. A couple people I want to give some shout outs to. My boy, School the Reporter. Shout out to him for doing his interview. And then I want to give a shout out to Michael Page. Hey, I'm born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm kind of from every part, so I don't really got no set neighborhood I'm from where I claim. I was mainly raised on the south side. I stayed on Holden Avenue for a couple years. I stayed out there for a couple years, and then once I moved from Holden, I ended up moving to Baldwin Creek. I stayed out there for about 4 years. I done been in I done lived on like down the area side of Fort Wayne. I done lived on the south side, the west side, north side, and east side. So I'm from pretty much a little bit everywhere. My favorite part, I ain't gonna lie to you, boy, Team East Side. That's my favorite part of Fort Wayne. The best advice I give to a young barber coming up, bro, is just staying consistent and practicing and studying your craft. Again, you wanna know exactly why you doing what you're doing, and you wanna know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You feel me? The best way to study is not even by studying the books that they give you in school, because the books they give you in school is the technicality of everything, and really it's just the legal advice and how to, structure your cuts. But if you really want some real tips on how to cut live, I'd say practice on YouTube. There's a lot of barbers on YouTube. One that I use personally was 360 Jeezy. He really the one who had really helped me out with a lot of tips on how to cut hair, especially live in the moment. I ain't had no mentors when I started cutting hair. I ain't really had no mentors in life either, so I really just taught everything I taught everything myself. Really, the main way I was really to tell myself to really keep myself from doing the wrong thing is just surrounding myself with good people. When I was a little bit younger, I really surround myself with the best people, so I was out here bullshitting, I ain't gonna lie to you, but one of the people who definitely did teach me the right shit to do in life, and especially where I got my wisdom from, was my granny, you feel me? She taught me a lot of things, especially a lot of life skills and about people. So I feel like that is one person I'll say that kept my head straight. How I was able to deal with the doubts, really just staying consistent, bro. I really wanted it, you feel me? It's not like I just wanted to do it and it was like a little part-time thing. After a while, I started seeing that it could become something bigger. You know, I would look at other barbers, especially like on Instagram, you know, I see barbers, you know, they got 1 million followers and shit like that. I'm like, damn, you know, I want to be like that one of these days. So it was for the love of the game, I'm gonna be honest with you, and it still is. You know, yeah, it's probably about the money. I say it's really like a 50-50 because I love cutting hair. You know, I could see myself doing this for a long time. You know, I just personally, I like working with my hands. You know, I like what I do. It's like art, you feel me? It's like a person to come in there with a big fro, that's your canvas. You sit in there, you cut that fro down, and boom, you feel me? It's like a whole new person, no church. You know, I just started at Ravenscroft, you feel me? So yeah, it made me feel like I'm going legit, you feel me? You know, I'm gonna be getting my license here soon, but I am into some apprenticeships, so you know, that's what allowed me to do what I do without facing any legal trouble. One thing I had to learn the hard way is not to rush your cuts. Do not rush, because if you rush, that's how you fuck up. Take your time. Especially when you're a new barber in the game, you're not gonna learn how to structure your cuts in a way that you can actually move fast until you understand what you're doing. And once you learn better ways and better techniques on how to structure your haircuts, that's when you start being able to move a little bit quicker. I definitely have fucked somebody cut up before, and I'm not afraid to admit that. It was, especially, matter of fact, it was recently I had ended up messing up somebody's haircut, and it wasn't bad. It's just me personally, I'm not good with straight hair, so I had got a straight hair client. It was booked by somebody with coarse hair, but he brought in his little brother who had straight hair, and he wanted me to do a blowout taper. I don't know how to do straight hair. That's one of the main reasons why I'm in school now. I started the little nigga cut. I got like midway through and I'm like, you know what? I ain't even gonna continue. You feel me? I ain't even gonna charge him or nothing. I just recommended him to a different barber that could fix him up. So yeah, I'm not really afraid to admit that I have messed up cuts, but for the most part, I actually do a pretty good job of all my cuts. I've never had anybody tell me directly that I've messed up their cut or that they did not like their cut. I'll just admit when I'm wrong. You feel me? Like, it ain't nothing wrong with that, man. Like, I'd rather take accountability for messing up somebody's haircut, or if I've done something that they didn't like, I would, I own up to. It ain't nothing wrong with doing that, and it actually shows that you are true to your craft. It's a lot of barbers out here that don't like to admit where they did wrong, and that's where a lot of confusion sets in, and it makes you appear that you do bad business. I don't want to be one of them barbers that do bad business. How I plan to expand? I really want to expand through social media. That's like the best way to get a lot of clientele built up is to post your work online. Mainly what I do right now, what I'm focusing on doing is trying to do skits, a lot of camera work, posting like reels. That's a good way to get engagement online and especially social media, and then just word of mouth. You feel me? Work. You can go up to somebody and be like, hey bro, I cut hair, I'm a barber. It's as simple as literally like talking to somebody, you become friends with them, or you just having a short conversation and you just mention the fact that you're a barber. And once you mention the fact that you're a barber, that can further, that can get people talking about you. It's really simple. You tell one person that you're a barber and then boom, they tell all their other friends that you're a barber. One person that I really, really, really want to collab with, it's a couple people. One of my favorite artists, he was upcoming, but he really mainstream now. One of the people that I do want to cut is JClipz. I've been fucking with his music for a while. And another person that I would like to meet in the barber game is 360 Jeezy, because he the one who taught me a lot of the ways to go. Really how I started by perfecting my craft, especially with cheaper equipment, was studying. I was studying my cuts. Like I said, 360 Jeezy. I watched a lot of his videos, and that's what taught me techniques. See, me, I learned technique before I learned how to use good equipment. So when you use good technique with bad equipment, your work will still turn out good. Like right now, my clippers, yeah, I spend a couple $100s on my clippers, but if I was to get handed a pair of clippers that say $30, $40, I could still make something happen with those because I know how to cut hair. It's not in the equipment. It's not the equipment. It's always the barber. How I learned that is consistency. Studying my craft. Like I said, studying my craft and being consistent. Advice to the youth, I would say stay in school. School is very important. Even if you don't want to stay in school, I'd advise, if you don't even want to go to college, pick up a trade. Something as simple as like what I do, cutting hair. Something that's going to keep you off the streets and keep you focused on something that's bigger. I know this not gonna sound the best, but what I advise is put the guns down and put your hands up, bro. You will always be able to live to fight another day if you was to put down the gun and you was to just fight like a man in the streets. That's how they used to do it, and that's how I feel like we should continue to do it. We can settle our differences like that, like men. Yeah, it's real crazy. A lot of people are struggling these days to even put food on their table. And, they trying to take food stamps away. I just had a conversation with my man at the gas station about that. They cutting down on a lot of the shit that you can buy with food stamps these days. And a lot of families actually depend on that to survive, to put food on their table. A lot of kids, they start selling drugs early because, I came from a single parent household. So, you could take that as you will, but a lot of us, we gotta do what we gotta do in order to get what we want. A lot of us, we wanted the new shoes coming up. We wanted to put some food on the table, help our parents out, take some of the stress off them. So, shit, it just be like that. How I grew up, really at first it was just me and my little brother, You know, it was unfortunate, but, you know, my father, he was not around for most of my childhood, so I had to take on the responsibilities, a lot of responsibility actually growing up. You know, I had to basically kind of help raise my little brother because my mom, she was a nurse, so she wasn't around a lot of the times. And then, you know, unfortunately, my brother's dad, he ended up passing, you know, when he was real young. Matter of fact, my little brother's dad, he was real known in the streets. He passed when my little brother was, when he was around about maybe less than a year old. So, you know, that's something that really does affect him, you know, still to this day. You know, he growing up without a father figure, but, you know, I try to be there the best I can. I got a couple of events actually. One of the bigger events is with Be Funny TV. We're gonna be hosting a content house out in Tennessee. We're gonna have Funny Man Galen there. He a real known comedian. Y'all should know him. If y'all don't know him, y'all need to get to know him, cause that nigga is funny, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then I got another event coming up. It's Slutfest with my man CJ. We're gonna be running that. I'm not sure what the details on that are yet, but we supposed to have a big rapper coming out here too from Chicago. So hopefully we make that happen. But Fluxwell, well, it was just me and my partner school, man. We started Fluxwell, really when we was younger, we wanted to go down a different path. But as we grew up, we started seeing that we could make something big happen. So we formed a team. We started reading books. You know, we started reading books and we put our ideas together like we can get a network going. It's a lot of younger kids out here that don't know what they want to do in life, and we can create a network where everybody has their own ideas. Even if you can't put your idea into perspective now, as we grow, as we continue to grow and we get to know each other, you know, we talk about our ideas, we collab on them, and we make them ideas happen, especially with the youth. It's mainly focused towards people that are younger, but we have older people in the networking group. Our main focus is really just to build the community up to be a better place. You know, we do a lot of work with the community. Last year we passed out a lot of food, and we passed out blankets to the homeless last Thanksgiving. So, you know, that was something we did. And, you know, coming up in the summertime, I want to host another event, which is a back to school event. I'll be giving out some free cuts. I have not got it started yet, but I do plan on getting that in the works soon. I want to give out some free cuts to the youth, and I want to hand out some book bags. Okay, one that I was really big on when I was in high school before I started really changing myself around was The Law of Success. It was actually a book that my homie school put me on to. You know, that really changed my perspective on life and people. It taught me a lot about how to carry myself as a person, and not only that, but it taught me how to get what I want without having to harm other people or put other people in jeopardy. It taught me how to carry myself business-wise. It taught me how to present myself in front of people that I admire in order to gain knowledge. Another book that I'm reading now is The 48 Laws of Power. Now, I have not read all the way through that book. I just started it, but I heard it was a good book on learning the psychology of people. So I feel like that's another good book to read. I started reading. I actually wasn't a big reader until I got to high school. I used to read, well, I take that back. I used to read a lot of books, but it wasn't knowledge books. It was more like, you know, comic books and shit like that. But how I got into reading actual books, especially books of knowledge, I got into that when I was in high school. You know, I never really liked reading like that. I was good at it, but I never really liked reading because I couldn't find a book that had anything useful in it that could teach me something. But how I got into reading was, like I said, through my man's school, you know, The Law of Success. That book right there is what made me want to pick up a lot of other books. Really putting yourself around some good people and not falling in with the crowd, because when you fall in with the crowd, it's what it leads you into making a lot of bad decisions that can impact your health and your situation at hand. You feel me? I done been put in situations where, you know, people could have got killed, where that shit could have really been avoided. But, you know, we young and I'm young and I'm dumb. You know, at one point I was young and I was dumb, but, you know, I done grew up, I done matured since then. So it really just a struggle, bro, you know, coming up in a single parent household, you know, seeing, you know, I don't really like to go into it a lot, but, you know, seeing my mom, you know, she come home, you know, bills coming up, you know, we can't really afford to stay in the place that we in, or, you know, shit, we can just be moving crib to crib to crib. You know, I'm not gonna go too far into that, but, you know, shit like that. Or, you know, not being able to get what everybody else got. You know, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but, you know, it really do affect you, you feel me, once you see them. My first haircut, it was my little brother, matter of fact. Boy, it really wasn't that bad, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I actually did pretty decent on my first haircut. The only thing I did was give him a line up though. I cut down his taper and then I gave him a line up. So it wasn't too bad. If I could find a picture of it, I'll show you. The hardest haircut to get right to me would be, for me, it's easy for most barbers, but to me, it's a bald fade. And I'm talking about the bald fade, like all the way around. You know, a lot of older niggas like that, but you know, it's kind of hard for me to do that one. I done got better at it, so it's not like I can't do it. It's just, you know, it takes some time trying to really get them lines up. Yeah, I run into it all the time, but the good thing about being a barber is that, you know, during the consultation, which consultation is when you consult your client, you ask them what they want, you ask them what would look good on them, or you could advise them. You know, a lot of the times the client sit in my chair, they may or may not know what they want. I'll look at them, and really what you want to do, what you want to try to do as a barber is give them a haircut that fits their face shape. You feel me? You don't want to give them a haircut like, say somebody come in and, you know, they got like a bigger head. You don't want to get them a bald fade, or you don't want to give them a mid fade or nothing like that. You want to give them something that's going to make their head look smaller. Or if they got like an extremely round head, you don't want to give them a cut that's going to make their head look long or make it look super round. You want to give them a sharp cut, like a low taper. Matter of fact, a low taper would be the cut that I do the most. I give a lot of low tapers out because that's really the cut that's in style now, and it fit pretty much everybody. My signature cut would be a mid taper with no C-cups. That's my favorite cut. I love that cut. I give myself that one. Me personally, I feel like I'm really the solo type person anyways, so, you know, I'd rather do a solo, but one of these days I do want to get my own shop, you know, and have a team, you know, so, you know, I guess I can kind of go, it's kind of like I'm in between, you know, maybe once I get further in the game and, you know, I'm more experienced, I'll change my answer on that one. Yeah, I feel like barbering is really underrated entrepreneur path, but these days being a barber is actually starting to grow. You know, you see the prices of cuts going up. A lot of barbers, they're offering new services. They do facials, they do massages, they do a lot of shit, you know, so it's something that's continuously growing and it's elevating. So I feel like, you know, by next year, barbering to be like one of the top, if it actually is an art, if it ain't already is, it's one of the biggest trades to get into. It's easy to get into and you can profit off of it really fast. Me personally, since I'm a new barber to the game, I feel like a fair price for like kids. This is something that's real controversial is kids cuts. A lot of people feel like kids cuts should be cheaper, but let me put it to you this way. I've had kid clients that get in the chair and they like to move their head a lot, or they like to get in the chair and they want to crumble up. You feel me? Do you feel like it's fair for me to charge cheaper than a adult cut and I have to deal with more, you know, I have to deal with more shit when it comes as far as like a kid? They don't like to move, they don't like to stay still. Me personally, I do charge cheaper for a kid's cut. My prices for a kid's cut is $20. I feel like that's fair because of what I do. I include all of my services. I do razor, I do the pencil outline, enhancements. Usually I try not to enhance kids' cuts because, you know, they're young, they don't really need it, you know, so I feel like that's fair, $20. You know, people, they may have second opinions about that, but then again, my prices are based off of my experience. The maximum my haircuts will go for is $35, and that's for when I throw in extra services. I do hot towels, and soon I want to start doing facials at my shop. But me personally, I feel like my prices are at a good point. I charge $25 for a full cut. It includes the beards and enhancements. Usually, you know, barbers around Fort Wayne, they charge them $45, $50 for a cut like that. So you come to me, you get the exact same thing for half the price. How you build loyal clientele is by having a good personality. You can cut hair good, but if you don't got a good personality, it'll make them more inclined to go into another barber. Because when I first started, me personally, I'm an introvert. You know, I don't really like talking like that. You know, I've been trying to work on it, and I feel like I've been doing good this year. I actually just gained another returning client by having a good personality. his name, I'm not gonna mention his name, but I actually, he came to me through somebody else that I had cut. And when he sat in my chair, he told me, you know, I actually came to you because my man started coming to you. And we had a whole conversation throughout the whole cut. We was laughing and shit. We was just chilling. And boom, just like that, because I had a good personality and I presented myself in a way that made him feel comfortable in my chair, he's gonna be a returning client. I could already tell. It's like as a barber, you could tell when somebody gonna be returning. You know, some people, they may say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check back in with you next week. I'd had this happen myself where somebody be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna check back in with you in a week or two. They never end up coming back. It's cool, but out of like half the people, they do end up returning. The longest haircut? I say the longest it's ever took me to do a haircut was maybe an hour. Maybe a little bit longer than an hour, and that was when I was first learning how to cut hair. I'm still learning. I feel like cutting hair is something that you always gonna learn something new as you go. You can be in the game 10 years. You know, my instructor, he'd been cutting hair damn near 20 years now. He still say that it's stuff that he learns as he goes. So now, you know, my cuts take maybe a minimum of 30 minutes, longest 45 minutes, and that depends on if I have to take down, you know, like a fro, like bulk. But other than that, yeah, my cuts take around about 30, 45 minutes. The barber scene, shit, really a lot of barbers starting to come up. If a lot of people can't tell, we got a lot of younger barbers getting into the game now. One that I actually know personally is Q-Ball. You know, Q-Ball, I went to high school with him. He'd been cutting hair for a little bit of time now. No politics, I say it's a couple people. I really can't even put a name on it because I ain't really been in the game that long, so I don't really know too many barbers out here. But I'd say the nicest people in the game have to be in between Richard and I forgot the other nigga name, but he an older barber. I think his name is Q. Yeah, I cut my own hair. I don't even go to the barbershop no more. But shit, I would say nobody, but I gotta humble myself. I say the only other person I trust to cut my hair is either Michael or my homie BG. We all cut at the same shop. Where I see myself a year from now, I'm in a barber shop right now, but where I see myself a year from now is getting my own suite. That's like one of my biggest plans right now as far as barbering. I want to get my own suite so it's easier for me to do content and so that I can give my clients a more private setting, so to be one-on-one. The Big Funny event is really just networking and getting my name out there. Really my name and my face, because a big part of content and being a content creator is getting your face out there. You're gonna feel nervous regardless, all because you may not be into it. So really, the best thing I could do, or the best thing I could say is, because I was one of them people, you know, I was one of the people that didn't really like talking that often. But I just trained myself to talk to people. It's like learning how to ride a bike. The more you do it, the better you get at it. And then after a while, it become natural. So really, you start off by talking to friends, you know, maybe you in school, just talk to new people, say what's up, give people compliments for some shit. Like, hey bro, I like your shoes, really just to start it off. And then after a while, you start letting people know what you want to do, and you start expressing your ideas on to other people. And then after a while, it's crazy how it works, but if me personally, I believe I'm real big into manifestation, you feel me? You start manifesting, and life will bring you the type of people you need to be around you in order to express yourself. Haircut trend I need to dye, bro, is that sky top, nigga. That shit needs to die ASAP, immediately. If you, bro, in 2026, if you rocking a sky top, bro, you need to go bald. Yeah. I remember one time I did a line up, but it was like low-key crooked. And I had to act like ain't nothing happened when I turned him around in the mirror, and I had hit him with the razor to fix it. So at the end of the day, I'm still gonna fix it, because I'm gonna see it once I turn him around in the mirror, but I gotta, you feel me, act like I knew that was there. Man, this neighborhood right here feel like home, for real. But one of the things that I do remember, bro, besides like me just getting into fights and shit, is when my moms had kicked me out, bro. I think I was like 16 at the time. And she had found out that I was selling weed and shit. And I was smoking. This is like right after she found out I was smoking, and then she had found out I was selling weed. And we used to get into it a lot. And it was one of these days in particular that she had got mad at me, and she was like, fuck it, you gotta get out. I think she had caught me smoking. And so I had to call up my partner. It was Vinny. You know, free my homie Vinny, he locked up right now, but that's like one of the realest niggas, like I know. That nigga pulled up immediately. I was packing all my shit up. I was waiting on my ride, and I was just packing, and then we was just like going back and forth and shit. And he pull up, I put all my shit in his car, and then he bid me over to my nigga school crib. We get over to his house and shit like that. And at the time, I didn't know his parents too well, and his parents ain't really know me like that, so I wasn't really able to go inside his house. So I had to stay in the alleyway behind his house. I think I stayed outside for like maybe, how long was it? I think it was like maybe 2 hours, maybe a little bit longer than that. I had to stay outside in the alley. And he was a real ass nigga. The nigga bought me food. He was texting me and shit, checking up on me. He bought me a book bag. I think I had some fruit in there, some ice cream, and some other shit. And I was just sitting outside for a little while, and then he ended up coming outside with me. This is some real ass shit though, because any other person wouldn't have really came outside, at least I feel like. But the nigga came outside and he sat outside with me the whole time. Damn, that shit just flew my heart. He came outside with me and shit. He sat out there, and we was really just chilling. We ended up smoking and shit. I think we sat outside for like maybe another hour. We sat outside for like maybe another hour, and then we ended up, I think his girlfriend, his girl at the time ended up texting him, and we ended up leaving there. We went to Eastside Park. I'll never forget it. I think it was late as fuck too, bro. It was like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We up outside and we ended up going to the park. We smoked with his girl, her sister pulled up. We sat out there, smoked for a little while. We talked and shit. And then we just was walking around the neighborhood, and there was these set of train tracks in particular. This is where me and my nigga, this is where we really used to come up with all the shit that we doing now. It's crazy how manifestation works. We used to talk about this shit we doing right now all the time when we was younger. And we sat out there for a little minute, we talked and shit, chopped it up. Then we started making our way back to his crib. Now, this is where it got fucked up at, because we still couldn't sneak inside the house. That was the original plan. We were supposed to sneak back in the crib, but that shit never ended up happening. So what really ended up happening is niggas had to climb over the fence, quiet. I'm talking, we crept over the fence, and he had a shed in the back. You see where this shit going. We sat in the shed. Mind you, this shed was full as fuck of lawn care equipment, a bunch of other shit I couldn't even really see. It was dark as hell outside, hot as fuck. We sat out there the rest of the night. I think we slept in the shed for like 2 hours. Nigga, by the time we woke up, nigga, we was fucked. Man, them bugs fucked us up. I'm talking, nigga, we had mosquito bites, ants. I don't know what the fuck it was, nigga. I just woke up and it was uncomfortable as hell because there wasn't no grass in the shed, nigga. It was all pebbles and shit. It was gravel. So we sitting on there, ass hurting and shit. Man, I'll never forget that day. It was only for a night, but I'll never forget that fucking night, bro. And I had to go to work right after. I feel like it built character, you feel me? Like now, like me and my mom, we don't even really get into it like that no more. And it taught me respect, you feel me? Like, it taught me respect, and it taught me how to survive just in case shit like that was to ever happen. You know, like I was to fall in hard times and I lose a house or some shit like that, and I gotta, do what I gotta do. Yeah, but I went to my first NBA game. I had a good time. I seen LeBron bald head ass out there. It was the Lakers versus Pacers game down in Indy. Of course, the Pacers got their ass whooped. It was cool though. Another little ep I got when I went down to Indy. I don't know why, but I spent a lot of time in Indy for some reason. Man, it was my nigga Meech's birthday, bro. We went down there to Indy. It really fucked us up. I'm actually started by the beginning. We was supposed to get a big ass Airbnb. I'm talking, this Airbnb was nice as fuck. It had like 5 rooms in it. It had an arcade. It had a balcony. It was 3 floors. So we were supposed to get the Airbnb, but we booked it too late. And the owner, I guess they didn't want no younger people booking like that. And they was asking me a bunch of weird ass questions, like how long I was gonna be down there for, why I was booking the Airbnb and some more shit. And they ended up telling me like, well, we usually don't accept bookings last minute because I booked the Airbnb the same day and I was trying to get it approved because my nigga school ain't know how to book an Airbnb. So I'm trying to get the shit booked before we head down there, and they wasn't trying to let us get it. So we said, fuck the Airbnb, we was gonna get a hotel when we get down there. We didn't book the hotel before we got down there. So we get down to Indy, we drive down there. It's like a cool 2-hour drive. We get down there, we looking for hotels that's gonna let us book within the same night and shit, but it wasn't gonna be too high because we was only gonna stay in there. We was only gonna be down there for a couple days. I don't remember exactly like how long we was gonna be down there, but I know we was gonna be there for a couple days. And we driving around the city and shit looking for Airbnbs. And if you done been to Indy or if you live in a big city, you know downtown be complicated as fuck. So we missing turns and shit. We driving just looking dumb as hell. We down there, eventually ended up finding one. And it was fucked up because when we got down there and we eventually ended up finding the hotel, we couldn't get in the hotel immediately. So we had to sit outside for a couple hours. We went and got some food. And then when we got down there, we booked the hotel, but they only let us book it for a day. And a hotel day means from the night that we booked up until that next morning, up until that same morning, because we booked it at 12 a.m. The lady ended up telling us that if we booked it at 12, we could follow it up until the same day, but I guess the bitch lied to us, so we ended up having to leave that one. And when we left, the niggas had to, bro, it was so crazy. We went to this, it was this apartments. We had sat outside. I think it was, 1 o'clock in the morning. We just outside and shit. And we sat out there for a couple hours. We ate, sat in the car, and then we left there. And then we had to go to another hotel, but they wouldn't let us book. For some reason, bro, in Indy, you can't do shit up until 7 o'clock in the morning. Don't shit be open. Everything shut down at 10, everything open at 7. So we had to literally sit outside and sleep in the car, bro, until it hit 7 a.m. to go and put money onto our card so that we can book the hotel. By the time we like, bro, I'm telling you, it was fucked up too because it was cold outside. Bro, niggas had to keep on turning the car back on and off and shit, so it wasn't just sitting all night on, running up gas and shit, but we had to keep on cutting the heat on. Bro, all I'm gonna say was just some bullshit. It was a fucked up night, but you feel me? It was my nigga Meech's birthday, so shit, we still had a good time by the time we did end up getting the hotel room. Cause we could have booked the fucking Airbnb if you would have let me know ahead of time that you ain't know how to book the goddamn Airbnb. I'm trying to get into some promo shit. I actually ended up networking with this dude. We go to the same barber school. He a rapper. And he actually do a lot of promotions, and he hosts like Airbnb parties in Fort Wayne, mainly in Indy. But he hosts a lot of parties and shit. He's like a promoter. I'm gonna try to get another Airbnb thing going soon, where it's like a party. It's gonna be a fee at entry. It's gonna be a fee, you know, at entry, but it's gonna be big. It's gonna be a real big party. We're gonna have a lot of actual promotion going on, and we're just gonna try to bring a lot of people together, and it's gonna be official. It's not gonna be no house party bullshit. It's gonna be something official. It's gonna be legit. Northside. I ain't gonna lie to you. This school was messy as hell, but it was one of the funnest high schools I went to, especially coming from Snyder. Everybody know me at Northside for cutting hair, man. You can go up in there and ask anybody. Locker rooms, bathrooms, all type of shit. Because I wasn't licensed, and because I really just wasn't supposed to be doing it in general on the school premises. But because I was cool with, like I said, I was cool with a lot of the admin in there, they really ain't mine, and I was cool with the coaches. So when I would come after school, that's when they would allow me to do it in the locker room and shit like that. Because when nobody say nothing, you feel me? Actually, a lot of people was with it. They used to encourage me to do it. But again, I couldn't do it like in school during school hours, you feel me? It used to low-key piss me off because I remember shit, the principal would walk in mid-cut. You feel me?
I said keep your mental health right, because that shit is really what you need to be focused on. Because with bad mental health, you're not going to do shit. You're going to put yourself